In this episode, the death of organic Facebook posts, AI that can edit video and photo for you, plus is Apple hobbling their own quality? Surely not. Surely not. Surely not. Surely not. All that, plus you can no longer choose what Google you're using or what country Google you're using by the URL. That's a mouthful. All that and more right after this short intro. How you all doing? We are back for another week in digital marketing news video. For this week, the week ending on the 28th of October 2017. Almost got that wrong. Plus, of course, we're here for AllTheGeek.com, your single source of digital marketing news. Everything from tech to AI, from search to social. If it's relevant for you, you know we're going to have it on the site. Hey, how you all doing? Did you miss me? I know you did. And you know how I know you did? I know you did from all the feedback, the emails, the tweets, the Facebook messages, the posts. You guys are incredible. And yes, we are back. We have taken quite a long break from the videos, which was noticed. And the reason for that, look, there's 101 different reasons. It's just that the year has completely got away from us. I ended up going back to Singapore for another trip over there. So huge shout out to all my Singapore buddies, all those digital marketers and CMOs over there. You guys are absolutely fantastic. We had a ball from all around the world. We gathered to talk to people like Facebook and to basically think in different ways, think outside the box for digital marketing. And what a great bunch of people. Had a ball. Plus, of course, while over there, my beautiful wife, shopped literally till she dropped and broke her arm. So we've had lots of fun with that. Plus conferences, everything else, unhealthy relatives, you know how it goes. Life just gets in the way. But we are back and it is so good to be here. So yeah, I think we should kick things off. And normally we would do, at this point, the feedback from you all. But in all reality, every single piece of feedback I've got lately is, where are you? Where are the videos? We want more videos. So you wanted them, you've got them, they're here for you now. So let's kick things off with all things new in social media. Okay, we've got a lot of social media news to cover. Now, obviously, I'm not going to cover every social media story since the last time we did a Week in Digital Marketing video, because we'll be here until the next Week in Digital Marketing video, and I'm pretty sure you'll get bored. So we're only going to look at stories that broke in the last week and a bit. And the reason I say a bit is there's a couple of really important stories I want to cover in this video. So first up, non-Facebook, non-Twitter related social news is WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp lets you, or are now letting you, or about to let for some people, you delete any embarrassing messages or any unintentional messages. Now, this is a feature that a lot of people thought already existed in WhatsApp, because you could go through and delete a message. Say I send a message to my son with a really bad dad joke in there, and I'm embarrassed by that dad joke. I would delete the message, but it only deleted it from my client. It actually wouldn't delete it from the recipient, so in this case my son's end. So he would still be able to see the embarrassing dad joke, and then years later at a birthday party could embarrass me with it. But anyway, so now you get the ability to actually delete those messages. Now the caveat here is you must delete them within the first 7 minutes of sending it, and when you do, it will delete it from your client, but also from my son's client, so therefore he can't blackmail me. See, it's all good news here. Now this is, as I said, something that only some people have at the moment. WhatsApp are rolling it out slowly. No word yet on when everyone will have it, but keep an eye on your WhatsApp message, particularly those of you that like to go out on a Friday or Saturday night. You know what I'm talking about, okay? No more embarrassing stories. There you go. Next up, Pinterest are allowing self-service ads. Wow, this is a mouthful. Pinterest allow self-serving ads on their platform. Now, 8 months ago, most of you will be aware that Pinterest allowed search ads. They rolled out a search ad platform. Well, now they are slowly rolling out the ability for you to use a self-service tool to be able to purchase those ads. Now, this is really good news. It means that a lot of people you don't have to use a big agency or anything. You can actually do a test and learn campaign on Pinterest yourself and actually monitor the parameters yourself. Now, interesting, this one, a lot of you, I'm not sure if you're aware of how Pinterest works, but Pinterest have over 2 billion searches per month. That is a lot of searches. But 97% of those searches do not include brand terms. So this is really interesting for those of us that are used to the Google space or Facebook, for example, where brand terms actually form quite a large part of our strategy. So for Pinterest, that poses a bit of a problem. So what Pinterest are allowing us to do with their self-serving ad buying tool, wow, they really got to come up with a cool name for it. Anyway, what they allow you to use is a thing called auto-targeting. Now this uses, and I need to get the term right here, Pinterest's taste graph. Now this is the graph that looks at all the metadata behind each of the pins or each of the images and kind of correlates them together to see commonality of interests, commonality of search terms, etc. So technically you may even get a better response than some of the other platforms we're looking at here. So look, I haven't trialed this myself. I'm really keen to hear from anybody who does. Let us know if you've tested a Pinterest ad campaign, search ad campaign. Let us know if you're trying to or you're about to and how it goes. Really keen to hear, and we'll keep you guys updated on that one. So next up, a couple of Twitter stories for you. First of all, Twitter are banning any media company that has links with Russian government. Now, a couple of very prominent ones that were, how can I put it, quite invested in the US elections, shall we say. A company called RT and another one called Sputnik. They have actually been banned from buying ads on Twitter. Now, this is a really interesting story, this. Twitter, obviously, they don't take this very lightly, and they certainly didn't make the decision very lightly. I mean, RT alone spent 1.9 million US on ads on Twitter since 2011. So they're not small fry by any measure. They are actually a significant client of Twitter's, and Twitter has banned them from buying any media on the platform. Now, I say this is interesting because the other aspect of this is I'm not entirely sure that this is the best approach for it. Obviously, something needed to happen here. There's a lot of investigation, a lot of heat on any of the social platforms where fake news was shared, where some sort of surreptitious or dodgy activity happened. So there's a lot of focus on that at the moment, and Twitter, well, they need to be seen to be doing something. So this is them doing something. But personally, I'm not sure that actually banning the agencies is going to help any. The agencies can just use a third-party agency. There's a number of different ways they can get around this. But anyway, interesting to see this. We'll keep you updated if there's any backlash on it. But yeah, Twitter banning a couple of agencies already, and more will follow, no doubt. And next up, that segues beautifully into another Twitter story, which will then segue into a Facebook story. It's all going to make sense when you hear it. But essentially, there's been a big piece of research come out of the US. 1,520 respondents in the survey, which makes it statistically significant, as you know. And a couple of big headlines here for social platforms. First of all, a third of America couldn't care less if Twitter disappeared. Yes, I know, that's disappointing. And I know a few kind of Twitter haters out there that are going to be very happy with this news. But personally, I don't like hearing this. Also, interestingly, Twitter are more disliked than Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, any of the big tech giants. Not a surprise to some people, but I was a little bit surprised by that one. Interestingly too, they were the least in people's opinion that they have a positive or very positive impact on society. So one of the questions that were asked were, do you feel that these social platforms, the different platforms or different tech companies, have a positive impact on society? Twitter came in least, maybe due to certain presidents' tweets, but anyway, but the interesting one here was how they compared with the likes of Facebook. So if we look at either ends of the spectrum, like the extreme ends of the scale, look at greatly dislike, 9.6% of the respondents greatly disliked Twitter. That's compared to 9.3% that greatly disliked Facebook. But the really telling one is on the other end of the scale, and that's on the greatly like. So Twitter had 19.3% of respondents greatly like them as a platform, whereas 41.3% greatly like Facebook. So, look, not great stats for Twitter at all. They are genuinely struggling to find relevance, and this is going to be a bit of a blow to them. They haven't responded yet. I'm not actually expecting that they will, to be honest, but interesting nonetheless. And that segues, as I mentioned, beautifully into a Facebook video and a Facebook story. Oh dear, my son's shaking his head at me. He's my cameraman for today. And this segues nicely into this. America does not trust Facebook. You may not be surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that. But now we have statistical proof. 57.26% of respondents said that they do not trust Facebook.
Now, as I mentioned, all of the respondents in this survey were Americans, so it'd be interesting to see how the Twitter and Facebook stats correspond in other countries, to see what happens there. But some other interesting stats for you: 62.39% of people or respondents will not share content on Facebook due to that mistrust, but also 58.97%, I can't even read my own writing there, 58.97% respondents would rather share their content elsewhere. 36% of the respondents enjoyed Instagram more than Facebook, and funny enough, 60% of the respondents didn't even know that Facebook owned Instagram, which actually is a good thing for Facebook because that's a strategic decision. They're trying to keep that distance from the two. And 30%, now this is really interesting, a bit of a deviation from the stats here, but 30% of the respondents indicated that they have a very strong interest in Facebook coming up with their own smart speaker or home speaker. So similar to an Echo Dot or Google Home, which they are working on. Their Division 8, which works on hardware-based initiatives, is working on one now. So that's certainly positive for Facebook. Be interesting to see what happens there. And Facebook also rolls out, yes, okay, I'm going to have to bend down and pick up this. Some of you eagle-eyed ones out there would have spotted I accidentally just dropped one of my notes, and I'm terrible at remembering things. So Facebook have added an Explore feed. This is a really interesting one, and one of the ones I wanted to focus on in this video. So we all know that organic page posts, organic content on Facebook is in decline. We know that a number of different things that have rolled out, you've seen on AllTheGeek, some of the impact that those changes that Facebook have had. We now have statistical proof that organic page posts are in decline. So interestingly enough, Facebook looked to be dealing to that, but not necessarily in the way that we wanted. They are releasing a thing called Explore Feed. It's going to go in the same area as Facebook Trends, trending information, etc. And then any news feeds or page posts that are organic are going to appear in the Explore feed. So you'll find content in there that from pages you don't necessarily follow. Now, what makes this really interesting is I don't go to the trending topics one either, and I don't think many people do. I don't think many people will go to this Explore feed either. I'm open to be proving wrong here. Just my gut kind of says that this is not really going to work. But then, as soon as we reported on this on AllTheGeek, something else broke literally 5 minutes after we put up the news story on it. And that is there's evidence out there that Facebook are now testing removal of organic page posts altogether. So they've created a new place to put them, and they're going to remove them from people's timelines, remove them from your Facebook feeds, etc. So they're testing this at the moment, and I've got a list of countries here. If you're in these countries, this is where it's being tested: Sri Lanka, Bolivia, Slovakia, Serbia, Guatemala, and Cambodia. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I do think it raises the death bell rather, for organic page posts. A lot of us have had to adjust our digital marketing strategies anyway. With the decline in organic, we've kind of had to adapt to that. This is just kind of the extreme of that. So there you go. That is the week in social media news. Next up, it's the week in search. Right, we've got a couple of stories for you in search today. And when I say a couple, I mean 3, which isn't a couple at all, but you know, I can't count. Anyway, first of all, Google search is no longer going to use domain names to indicate which Google country you want to be using. Confused? Don't be. I'm going to explain it to you. So as digital marketers, a lot of you will be aware, if you are dealing with multiple countries and you want to be ranking in different countries, you can use third-party tools, you can use SEO tools, but you can also just go to google.co.nz for New Zealand Google to see how you're ranking there. You can also go to google.co.uk, google.com.au. There are a number of different Google URLs or country-based TLDs that you can use to kind of change the country that you're searching in. Well, Google are removing that. They are no longer going to have those individual country domains. It's just going to be google.com everywhere. But you will indicate at the bottom of the screen, it will tell you what country you are actually searching in. Now, don't freak out. Don't panic, everyone relax, have a nice cup of tea. You can still change what country you are searching in. All you need to do, sorry, my cat has just magically come into the room even though I've shut the door. I swear this guy's like a reverse Houdini. He can get into anywhere. Anyway, totally distracted here. So you can still change this in Google settings. You can go through and change the country that you're searching in. So, yep, don't panic. It's all good news. Next up, Bing ads. Sorry, cameraman is laughing in the background because the cat is trying to climb on him. See, this is the chaos that we have when we're trying to make a video here. Now you see why there's giant delays in between. It's the cat destroying all of our content. All right, anyway, sorry. Here we go, Bing ads. Serious face now. Yes, that bumping of the camera was the cat. So now we got serious face. Bing's ad content network. We've lost a light. Okay, right. Okay, we're back. Crisis averted. Cole is now out of the studio. The lighting rig is put back in place. Nothing caught fire. We swear everything is all good to go. So let's kick things off back where we were, back in search. Bing's ad content network. Now, as you know, Bing have sunsetted their ad content network. This is not to be confused with their ad search network. It's their content network, which never really fired, never really did well. A number of people, though, have been running campaigns on that, both native campaigns and also hybrid campaigns, where it's a combination of search and content. So Bing have announced that they are actually not only sunsetting the platform, but they're also going to be deleting the data. So that data is going to be deleted as of the 30th of November. So if any of you have been using the ad content network, either in hybrid mode or in organic mode, native mode, then I do suggest you download that data so you don't lose any insights. But for most of us, that's not really news because hardly anyone used it, did they? Anyway, last in search is Google Tag Manager. They've added a really interesting new native tag called Scroll Depth Trigger. And as you know, a lot of us have used third-party scroll depth trigger add-ons, plugins. Wow, I'm struggling for English here today. We've used third-party tools to be able to measure the scroll depth down a page or horizontally or vertically down a page. But now there's a native one built into Google Tag Manager. So the options are horizontal and vertical scrolling. You can use either pixel depth or percentage depth, which is really useful and really simple to use as well. You just go to the trigger config section in Tag Manager and set one up. So yeah, that's good news. No more third-party plugins for scroll depth. You can do it all native in Tag Manager. Anyway, despite all the interruptions, the catastrophe, see what I did there? Despite all, don't roll your eyes at me, cameraman. Despite all the disruptions, we made it through search. Next up, it's all the news in tech. We only have one story in tech this week, a bit of a light tech week. But this is an interesting one. So apparently, and this is only a rumor, please note it's only speculation at this stage, but the rumor is that Apple have relaxed the quality of their Face ID mechanism within the new iPhones. And the reason for this is the stringent quality kind of controls that they have, and they have their, I've got to get this right down here, two-year production cycle that they need to fit everything within. Apparently that was too stringent for manufacturers, and they couldn't get the quality of the facial ID chips and everything else that they need for the phones. So Apple reportedly lowered the quality so that they could meet the manufacturing requirements to get the new iPhones and iPhone X out the door. Now, don't freak out about that. Facial ID is still, even at reduced quality, is still more accurate than fingerprint detection. So yeah, I don't think it's really going to affect anything there, but it's the first time we've ever heard of Apple reducing quality to meet deadlines. Normally quality comes first. New direction for Apple? Who knows? Anyway, I thought it was news, so it's in there. That's it in tech news. Next up, all that's new in AI. Right, we've got a couple of stories for you in AI. One of these you would have already seen on AllTheGeek.com this week. And that is the AI can now let you, thanks to Shutterstock's experiment, can now let you search for stock imagery based on composition. Now, if you can understand and get your head around what this means, this is a big deal. If you've ever had to spend, as a lot of us have, hours and hours scrolling through different stock imagery to find the right image to make a banner, yes, with weird dimensions, then you will know how painful it is to try and find something where all the action, like all the people are on the right-hand side, or all the different elements that you need are in the right place in the image. Well, Shutterstock have now released a new AI tool, or it's in beta at the moment, where you can actually do a search on, say, for example, iPhones and kittens. and then it'll show you every image that has iPhones and kittens in. But then you can then take the icons for kitten and for iPhone, drag them to where on the image you actually want them, and the AI will go out, detect those elements within the imagery, and find you the images that match the composition and the content that you're looking for. This is a huge deal, and interestingly, I hope they roll this out on all stock platforms, so great work, Shutterstock. Hopefully we get to see that on Getty and other image platforms as well very, very soon. I know I'm hanging out to use it. So, yep, next up in AI, this is a really, 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 really big deal. And I need to emphasize, really big deal. Adobe's just had their Max conference, their annual Max conference, where they roll out any of their new developments. And this one has genuinely blown a lot of people away. They've got a new prototype that uses AI to instantly edit photos and videos. Now the way this works, first of all, the image unit is called Sensei. So the Sensei unit, and what it does is it does scene stitching that, look, most of us know we've used like clone tools, we've used scene stitching tools on Adobe platforms that takes elements from within the image itself and looks at what would be best fit to stitch out a person, for example, or a picnic blanket that's sitting on the side of a hill and you don't want the picnic blanket there. It will look for the exact kind of patch of grass that can overlay over top of that to stitch out that picnic blanket. Well, this new AI doesn't stop there. It actually looks at Adobe's complete stock image library to find the exact right kind of composition, the right kind of tones and content that can help to kind of stitch out these things and do it automatically for you. So this is incredible. It uses basically all those stock images as its own paint palette. And it makes things like when you see the demo for this, and we'll put some of this content up on AllTheGeek, and when you get to see this in action, it is genuinely mind-blowing. But also they don't stop there. It's semantically aware, which means that it can look at things like if you're trying to take a person out of an image and it feels that the person should be there or a person should be there, it'll give you an option to put other people in that position of where the other person was. Yeah, that sounds confusing. Trust me, when you look at the videos that we're going to put up, it will make sense to you. They also have released Project Cloak, which is pretty much the video version of that. But the interesting thing with this is you can do things like if you've got an image of someone wearing a backpack, you don't want the backpack in the video, click on the backpack, you can delete it. It uses all the same kind of AI and stitching tools and things to remove the backpack from the video. But then you don't need to do this frame by frame by frame. It will actually use Project Cloak to go across the entire stream of video, removing that backpack, basically making our lives a hell of a lot easier. This is genuinely exciting stuff and really interesting use of AI here as well. So we'll keep you updated on this. Adobe, no doubt, are going to be releasing a number of new features, a number of new projects they're working on, and I'll certainly let you know when Project Cloak and Sensei Unit are rolled out to the general public. So guess what? That is it in AI this week. Next up, we've got the Muppet of the Week. Yes, it's that time for our Muppet of the Week award. Now, obviously, since the last Week in Digital Marketing News video, we've had a lot of Muppets that have popped up out there. Equifax, anyone? Yes. But this week, the Muppet of the Week is going to Facebook. More importantly, Facebook's auto translation service, which actually got a Palestinian man arrested this week when he posted a photo of himself next to a bulldozer and put the caption, well, actually, I can't read the caption. It's in some foreign language. Anyway, and the caption was supposed to read, "Good morning," and in his language it did. Unfortunately, the auto translation service translated it to attack them in Hebrew, and then in English, hurt them, which obviously then got the man arrested. Facebook have apologized to him and his family for any inconvenience. And I think a lot of people are going to be thinking twice about what they actually put on their Facebook feed. Maybe he should have looked at that survey around who trusts Facebook and who doesn't. Anyway, Facebook, guess what? Your auto translation service gets our Muppet of the Week award. All right, next up, it is our Tech Find of the Week. Okay, our Tech Find of the Week this week is something that I'm using personally and something I find incredibly useful. It's called Focuswriter. Now, you can find it at gottcode.org. That is Gott with two T's, so GOTTCODE.org/Focuswriter, all one word. Now what this is, it's a distraction-free way to do writing. So whether you're writing for a blog, writing content, or writing a book in some cases, you can use this software in portable mode, you can install it, but what it does is it hides the interface. It removes all distractions, so the only thing you're focused on is the writing. And trust me when I tell you, I've used this personally, it really does make a difference. It removes all the distractions except for my imagination, which is probably my biggest distraction, and my curiosity of, is there a new Star Wars trailer? Should I go and see Thor Ragnarok again? Or how good was the Alice Cooper concert last night? Yes, I went. It was fantastic. Anyway, all distractions are removed except for our own distractions that we kind of create ourselves. This is an incredibly useful tool. I do recommend any content writers out there, anyone who's looking at doing any copywriting for their website, for their blogs, book writing, article writing, white paper writing, anything like that. If you want to focus, make sure you get a hold of Focuswriter at gotco.org/focuswriter. Guess what? That is it, guys. We have reached the end of our digital marketing news, or week in digital marketing news video. Wow, stuffed that one up, didn't I? Anyway, look, it's great to be back. It's great to, I was going to say see your ugly faces out there, but of course I can't see you. You have to see my ugly face. That's the way it works. Anyway, make sure you hit us up on social media. Make sure if you found this video useful, you click on that old like button for YouTube. If you haven't already, click subscribe so you get the notifications, so you're not constantly going, hey, when's that video up? When's that video up? And of course, make sure you check out AllTheGeek.com for all your digital marketing news. And I've been Vince Warnock. You guys, of course, are brilliant. I'll see you all next week.